Hello, my name's John Drennan. I'm the assessment coordinator for Division 1 at Merritt College in Oakland. For this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create and enter an SLO assessment into CurriQunet. Before I get started, I want to just do a little plug for doing assessment to let you know how easy it is, how beneficial it is, both for you and for students. When you're creating an SLO assessment, what you want to do is you want to just pick some assignment that you've done during the semester that connects up to some SLO that you have in the course. Quantify how well your students did, how many were assessed, how many are in the class. Describe the assignment that you're doing. Put down in CurriQunet what are your expectations for success, and then analyze what happened in the assignment, whether you did well, what were the student learning gaps that could have been done better. This is something that is going to be beneficial for you and for the students and for the college. Um, it's also something that we want to make sure that we're doing to create a culture of assessment at Merritt College. It's only going to take you 15 minutes per assessment once you get good at it. You can do 3 of them in 45 minutes. I sent out an email letting you know that that's what's going on, that it's so simple to do these assessments. All faculty should probably be doing at least 3 SLO assessments per semester. That includes full-time faculty, part-time faculty. If we do that, then we're going to get on track for our assessments. And over time, you're going to find that this is not only something that is beneficial for you and your students, but it's something that you're going to really enjoy doing because you're going to make some strides in becoming a better teacher. And that's really what assessment is all about. So let's get going on our tutorial. I want to make sure that I get you into CurriQunet. It's over here on the right. I like to use Firefox for my CurriQunet work. It seems to be the best browser. If you don't have access to Firefox or to CurriQunet, you should get in touch with your contact person in the division that you work in. For ours, it's LaShawn Fitch in Division 1, or you can get in touch with the curriculum chair. That's Neem Tai. Any of those people can get you into CurriQunet, get you a login, which is different than your Peralta email login. So that's what you need to do to get in. So let's go on in, and we're going to do an assessment, an SLO assessment. So the first thing you want to do once you're in here is you want to create proposal. That's over here in the upper right-hand corner. We're going to click on Create Proposal. So this is the series of windows that you have to go through. We're going to select a proposal type, and we know already we're planning to do an SLO assessment, so we're going to scroll down here, and we're going to go to SLO assessment, and we're going to pick that one. Click on Next. And then we're going to select the division that we teach in. There's probably only going to be one here. Very few people teach in more than one division. The department that we're eligible, that we have an FSA in. I teach in English, so that's the one that appears for me. And now here's something that's extremely important. Over here in the handy dandy links document that I've been sending out to the campus many times, you can see what you can put in for the title of your SLO assessment. It's very important that you put in the title with the format that we indicate over in the handy dandy links document. And so you need to put in the course number. I'm going to try English 1A, comma, and then I'm going to put the SLO I'm going to assess, number 1, comma, and then I'm going to put the semester I'm going to assess it in, and then I'm going to put my name here. All of those things are important because when you go in and you want to find it again, if you want other people to be able to find it and to know which one you've done, it's a critical thing that you get that done in the format that these can be done in a slightly different order, but the course number should be up front, and all of those elements need to be in there. So I'm going to click on Next because we're all set to go. And and we can check this out to make sure it's okay. I'm checking my title to make sure that that's kosher, it's the way it's supposed to be, and then I'm going to create proposal. And here we go. This is my proposal. So once you're in here, when we get all of these gold boxes turn green, then it's going to allow us to launch our proposal. So the first one we have to work with is the main page. So you can see that this is outlined in gold, and so we need to make sure we do that. That's going to be required, and I'm doing spring because that's what I said I would do, spring 19. So I got to put 2019 in here. And as of this point, I've kind of got figured out exactly what's going on. You might have to come back and fill these numbers out. You want to make sure that you do it eventually. You can see that it's not actually required, but very good to fill the numbers out because it gives you a percentage later on. So number of students assessed, I'm saying that there's probably about 28 students that are going to be assessed. Maybe, hopefully 25 are going to meet the criteria, and the number of students on the roster at this point in the semester probably about 32. And so I've got that filled out. Subject, I'm doing English, so you go down to the drop-down menu and find your subject, which is your discipline. Choose your course. And I said I was going to do English 1A. I'm going to choose 1A and choose the current version. And that's obviously what we're going to be doing. We want the active version, which is current. And then I'm going to choose the outcome. I'm going to scroll down here so I can see more of what's going on. And these are the outcomes that are listed for English 1A. And so I said that I was going to do SLO 1. So I'm going to select SLO 1, read actively, to comprehend, evaluate, synthesize, and analyze college-level text. So this is the reading portion of it. Now, if you want to work with someone on it, you can select someone to be a co-contributor. And then I'm going to save this. And you can see that I've got my first green box. I can move on. Great. So moving on to the assessment method and tools. It's a reading challenge. So this is kind of a performance thing. So I'm going to put in here something about reading that I'm expecting them to do. This may be, for me, it would probably be having something to do with maybe a summary that they would do at the beginning of the semester, something like that. Depending on what you happen to be, the assignment you're working on is going to obviously be specific to what you decide to pick here, and that you're going to put a very detailed description in later. So I'm going to scroll down here to see if there's anything else I need to do. The success criteria. I'm going to type in the success criteria here. What are my expectations for them to be successful for this assignment? It would be that they understand the text, that they're able to glean the main points from a detail, if they're writing a summary, whatever it happens to be that you care about in terms of their success. So it's going to be, once again, specific to whatever it is that you're working from. So here you can attach something. You're going to attach a rubric, or you're going to attach the assignment. So I'm going to click Save, and I've got my second green box. Moving right on through. So my assessment results, I'm going to move on to that one. So this is the outcome that I'm working from. It lets you know the delivery method. I need to fill that out in order to move on. I'm teaching this face-to-face. Here we've got the percentage that I told you that was going to be listed. So results and analysis. So here I'm going to be talking about that 89%. I'm going to be putting in my analysis of the assignment. How did I do on this particular assignment? Am I happy with how they did? What could have been done better? That kind of thing. So put some thought into this, put some detail into your results and analysis. Some people who've been doing this have been giving some very detailed explanations in that portion. Now, learning gaps is kind of an odd way of expressing this, but this has to do with what the student didn't get that they should have gotten out of this assignment. That's the gap. So that's going to have something to do with your analysis of what you could do better. So you're going to put in the learning gaps and how you're going to meet those gaps. How are you going to fill the gaps? How are you going to get the students to be able to learn and be more successful than they were, so that you can improve on whatever it was that was the success ratio that you got for this particular assignment. Now down here, I can select something to put in as an attachment again, but if I click out of this box, I can see now that I've got another green square. I'm moving right on through this. You can see how quickly this goes, and I want to make sure that you save the changes, because I'll give you a box to get you to save the changes. Now, if this particular assessment is connected to a previous assessment that you did, maybe you're what we call closing the loop, meaning that you did one assessment, you decided you wanted to make improvement, and now you're going to see whether those improvements actually panned out, and you're actually getting those, you're filling those gaps. Then you could put, what you wanted to do from the previous action plan, or if this is the first time you've actually worked with this, you can put not appropriate in there. So if I click out of here, I can see that I've got another green box. Save the changes. So now we're going to talk about, or write about, exactly what we wanted to do in terms of our goals. So maybe I needed to, this is going to be tied into your analysis, so I may need to provide more frequent and comprehensive feedback. That might be an issue. Or I might have needed to increase class discussions and activities in order for them to get a better idea of what they needed to do for this particular summary that I'm working on. So put some thought into this too, and then you're going to actually be making improvement in terms of what you're teaching. Now, actions to take beyond the course level, you could think about the elements in this particular issue and put some checks in there if you think it's appropriate. Now, when am I going to do this again? Now, this is something you might want to think ahead about. It may be just a tentative thing, you're not really sure. So just put something in there in the future. You may plan to do it in another year. So put something in there. That's going to allow you then to move on to the next element. So if you want to attach a file here, you can. I'm going to save this, and look, the magic launch here is set up for us. So now we can launch the proposal. Now, if you end up in the middle of it, you haven't launched it, say you want to go back in here and you haven't finished one of these yet, and you want to save it as a draft. You want to just make sure, because as you save these things, it's saving as a draft. So if I go in here and I go into assessment and my proposals, then this particular assessment is going to be in here. And see where it says Drinnen? This is the draft that I just worked on. So I can go back in here and I can find it and I can make the changes I wanted to make, and then I can launch my proposal. So if you're ever wondering what happened to the draft that you started, or if you start something and you're wondering what happened to it, all you need to do is when you open up CurriQunet, go to Assessment, and if this My Proposals is checked, then that draft is going to appear here. That's why it's so important that we get these titles right. This is one of the things that's going to allow you to find your draft once you need to be looking for it and to access it. So I want to make sure that everybody's aware of what's over here in my handy dandy links document. Here's the titles over here, the 2 video tutorials. This tutorial that I'm working on now, how to create and enter an SLO in CurriQunet, that's going to go up on this handy dandy links document, so you can access it from this document. You can, of course, get to LaShawn Fitch, and she can get you into CurriQunet, how to get to Peralta CurriQunet, so you can bookmark it. This is a how-to guide. It's a step-by-step pictorial. Not as good as a video, but it still works well. Here's the stipend request form for part-timers are eligible for a $100 stipend, so that's a really good thing per course. Of course, if you do 2 or 3 SLOs in the same course, you only get $100, but still we know 15 minutes per SLO, we want to get them done so we don't have a problem with our accreditation. Now here's where you can go to check out the what's been done in your discipline, the assessment record, and so here you can click on this. It will take you to a Google Doc, and if you go to the tabs at the bottom, you can find your discipline and find out which SLOs need to be done.